things are heating up, and really intensely. The rivalry between the PDP and the APC is getting rough and dirty. Let's get to speak with a prominent figure in the People's Democratic Party and very close ally of the presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, is a former Minister of Aviation, Mr. Osita Chidoka. Thanks so much for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
I saw pictures of you and your presidential candidate in the UK, and there are a lot of people who think that it was there for some other reasons. And the question is, what are the benefits of those kind of trip, and are these kind of endorsement that it could get, considering the kind of criticism that your party is getting internally, which I will bring up in the course of the conversation, whether or not your party still has a chance in this race to win it?
Well, first I will say that the election has been won and lost. As far as we are concerned.
Who is winning? Or who has won it? Who is
Atiku Abubakar has won the election, and it's just a matter of time when we get to the February 25th, the country will say, because the election has to go to one, superior organization, two, the national demography and voting pattern, and three, that candidate that is able to mop up votes across the country. So it's not going to be an election that is going to be a tough race. I'm not saying it's a walk in the park, but you know, I've been sitting back in the back and we've been looking at it, and we are certain that we have many things going for Atiku Abubakar. One is his resilience has come forth to pay. Yeah, you know, it's not easy for somebody to be that resilient. You know, if I would love to be like Atiku Abubakar. I would love not to give up. He tried 3 times to be governor before he became governor. And when he became, from there, he went on to vice president. And since vice president, he's been trying to be president, and he has not given up on that dream. It is something important for any human being, not to give up on your dream. Your dreams are valid, so you need to fight for it. And he's fighting for it. The second one is that the PDP is a party that had a pan-Nigerian coalition in 1999. And went through 2003, we lost a certain segment of the north, and we got the southwest added to the PDP at that time. And then we went on to 2007, when we returned back the national coalition, when we had Umar Yar'Adua. Even though we lost some states to General Buhari at that time, we still had a national coalition. In 2011, the election result, if you look at it, was almost a north-south election. The north, up north was Buhari, and down south with the middle belt was PDP. So now by 2015, the APC had been formed. They took the north, they took the middle belt, and they took the southwest. So that coalition gave them power. Before, the PDP coalition was the north, the middle belt, the southeast, and the south-south. So PDP became a southeast, south-south party. And we're trying to gain back into being a national coalition. Now, what that means in electoral terms is that if we return the northeast, northwest to the PDP, and if we work hard, do well in the middle belt, where we have some of our strongholds, do well in the south-south, and I'm conceding the southwest and the southeast to the other 2 presidential candidates. Now, every time a Southerner has won the presidency, the Southerner will win from Lagos to Calabar. In 2011, the only state Jonathan lost was Osun State, which voted for Nuhu Ribadu. You win from Lagos to Calabar, and then you win the middle belt, and then you go on to Adamawa and Taraba to get your 25% across some states in the north. Now, that means that the opposite of the north is south. The opposite is not east or west. So when the west goes one way and the east goes another way, then the battleground and the north, you know, more or less is intact, because I know Kwankwanso is running for the presidency, but so far he's been confined mainly to the Kanu area. So Shagari had Aminu Kanu running for president against him, but still Shagari didn't even make 25% in Kanu. Didn't win in Lagos, but he managed to continue picking up votes across the country. People say Zeke won Plateau by one Plateau state. He got 49% of the vote. Shagari got 36%. Awolowo won Edo State. Shagari got 38%. So he followed closely across the country, picking up votes. That is what congregated to his 33%.
So, but things are not really shaping up in that manner. I mean, I love the way you summarize the political history, the electoral and political history of our country. But things are really not shaping exactly in that manner. You look at what exactly is happening in the Southeast. That used to be a stronghold of the PDP. In fact, there are some states that will say it's a traditional PDP state.
Yes.
You are from Anambra State, for example.
Yes.
I'm not certain PDP can boast of winning Anambra State as it stands right now.
Yes, but it doesn't matter.
If you go to Ebonyi and Imo State are being governed by APC governors, it then means that PDP cannot boast of winning outrightly in those states also. There are only 5 states in the southeast of the region. It looks to me that that region, PDP seems to have lost steam. In the south-south, you don't have the support of a governor like Yinsam Wike. And you've analyzed in the northwest and the northeast, you have 7 plus 6, you have 13 states right there. Before now, Atiku Abubakar lost the election with about little above 2 million votes. But those things
3 million plus.
Yeah, those things are changing. So the narrative and that analysis seem to have changed for 2023. We used to have a 2-horse race. This is a 4-horse race.
You missed a point. You know that Buhari has always been president without the southeast and the south-south.
True.
So it doesn't. So you don't have to win all the zones. He gets rule of the 4. I'm coming.
In places like Lagos.
So he doesn't. He gets
considerable amount of votes.
And that's what's going to happen in this election. PDP is going to get considerable votes in Oyo, in Osun, in Ekiti. We're going to get considerable votes in Anambra, Imo, Abia. We're going to come second. Tinubu is not going to come second in Imo, Abia, Enugu. APC is not going to happen. We're going to be first and second, even in the Niger Delta, in Delta, Akwa Ibom, in Bayelsa, in Cross River. We're going to be PDP. So what I'm telling you in effect is that the only thing that will change, and that is a significant sea change, is who is able to do well in the northwest and in the northeast. In the northwest, the APC is a strong party in the northwest, but they've delivered violence to the northwest. They've delivered banditry to the northwest. They've delivered hunger to the northwest. They've delivered, no more famine in the northwest. They've created a problem that there is ethnic warfare going on in the northwest. The president's convoy couldn't get to Katsina. So the northwest is not open. The problem is that what needs to happen is that the APC is still talking about this presidency by virtue of the fact that they have a strong party infrastructure and they are in power. But if they were not in power, I don't see how they could win any votes in any part of Nigeria, because they have significantly degraded the capacity of Nigeria as a nation. They have degraded our unity in diversity. They've degraded our economy. So what is going to happen is that it will be a shock if anybody in the right thinking mind says that those places where banditry is now the order of the day will still go back and vote.
Do you see this election between your candidate and who?
And APC.
You think that the race, Peter Obi, you don't see Peter Obi in this race?
Peter Obi is a disruptor and a significant player in the election. But you see, the problem is that, let me take something like the youth votes. There are 37 million people between the ages of 18 and 35.
Yeah.
1835. There are 37 million people. Of these 37 million people, 9 million of them are in the Northwest. 26%. So there's no national youth movement. 4.1 million of them are in the Southeast. 11%, which mirrors the total voting structure in the country.
And you don't think that, Peter Obi can sway those votes?
So I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. Because you see, the issues before the youths in the South and the youths in the North are different. So when we're talking about NSAS, nobody in the North moved because that's not a problem for them.
And your party just suspended someone like Senator Chimaroke Namani and suspended a long list of members of the PDP in Ekiti State. Now, Governor Wike had said he dares the party to suspend any of them who are in the G5. And it does look to me that, in fact, there are talks about where the G5 governors are going to tilt to in terms of the presidential election. They have asked their followers to vote in a certain direction, in some other elections. In the presidency, there are those who are working with them who say this is likely where they are going to, which does not look like they are going to support Atiku Abubakar. 5 states that PDP controls and is looking at it slipping out of your hands. Are you still thinking that your permutation still works?
It works because it's going to be voting. 3 of the governors are senatorial candidates on that day that Atiku Abubakar is running for president. So think about it.
So you take
going to,
out of the 10 highest voting states,
yes,
you have Rivers and Oyo State.
Yes.
And they are part of the G5 states.
And you can see that on the day Atiku Abubakar was at Oyo State, all the candidates of the PDP, senatorial, House of Rep, House of Assembly were there.
Because their destiny is tied around that day of election.
We're in the same ship. Our boat moves, will rise or sink together.
Have you heard about PDP for Peter Obi? These are members of your party who say they are not supporting Atiku Abubakar. They say they're supporting Peter Obi. Yet they remain members of the PDP.
Oh, yes, because you see, that's what I'm saying. So that's the challenge we have in Igbo land. And I will explain that for a minute before I come back to the G5. So the question for me is that there are 2 strands of opinion in Igbo land. That one, we can go with a third force to win the presidency of Nigeria. And I think it's a valid argument. But I am of the considered view that the 2-party structure offers all the ethnic groups the opportunity of winning that presidency, of getting, once you get the ticket of one of those parties, your pathway to presidency becomes clearer. Now, the reason why I am of that considered view is that if you look at the considerable investment of the Southeast in the PDP, we are the owners of PDP. From Ekweme to Okwinwoda secretary, to the time of Jonathan Goodluck, to the 90-something% of the votes cast in Igbo land, we have given averagely 80% of the votes. Now, PDP did not give us the ticket of 2023. I don't think it is enough reason to throw away that significant investment, because we need to get that investment to work for us together with other parts of Nigeria. If it was only that Igbos will vote in the election, then that would be a different matter. So are we going to be waiting for every time the perfect storm of a poor governance by a party, of a party that does not give ticket, of an angry youth for an Igbo man to be president? My answer is no. I think that the Igbos fundamentally the people who say our best bet is to go out of the PDP and try our luck, and I said that's a perfect argument. And I think Peter is doing a great job at that. He's mobilizing people across Nigeria. But I don't think that's the Igbo position. The Igbo position for me is that our significant investment in the PDP of 24 years cannot be thrown away overnight. So I remain in the PDP, and many Igbos remain in the PDP because we feel that 4 years is a long time, but it's not a...
And you know what some people think in Igbo land, that if Peter Obi does not become the president this time around, that for opportunity for an Igbo presidency is going to be a very, very, very tough one, and it's going to be a long time in the future before it can happen.
Well, that is because those people who say that don't understand the nature of politics. Now, Peter has already gotten significant followership from this quest for power. Buhari got significant followership from his quest from ANPP, CPC, and metamorphosed all the way to APC. So it doesn't end overnight, the quest for presidency. Tinubu has been planning for this presidency since 2007. 2011, he could have been the candidate of AC. He gave it 2007. He gave it to Atiku Abubakar. 2011, he gave it to Nuhu Ribadu. 2015, he supported Buhari before he got to him. So it is not a one-moment issue. The fact remains that a careful planning, a strong presence in a political party begins to give us the power, the energy to be able to campaign, starting the campaign early, setting up the structures for election, and getting ready for the D-Day. Right. So I think it's a matter of just fear, unnecessary fear. The Igbo presidency is just about the corner. Once an Igbo man is capable of winning, of holding on strong in a party and controlling the levers of that party, and it's going to happen soon.
Where we will anchor tonight, and quickly, is on the back and forth between the PDP and the APC. Today, there was a press statement or press conference. PDP saying that some agencies of government should prosecute the candidate of the APC, Bola Tinubu. The APC had also, in fact, gone to court dragging your principal to court to say he should answer for the allegation of Article Gate and the SPV. How does your party or your candidate explain to Nigerians over those tapes that are surfaced online? Don't you think that that's somewhat damaged the chances of your candidate?
So it hasn't damaged the chances of our candidate. And first of all, the so-called Article Gate is now subject of a court matter, so it's sub judice. I will not dwell on it. I will wait for Festus Keyamos for the court to rule on what he has gone to court to ask for. But the great issue there is that some of the issues they are raising on those tapes were the issue of a criminal case that went all the way to the imprisonment of a governor, and that matter at no time had the name of Atiku Abubakar inside it. So it will be interesting to see how the courts will decide on it. That's one. The second one is that I saw the statement, I read the statement by the PDP today about Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And my own worry, I have only one worry in that whole statement. Whether they take him to court or not is neither here nor there. It's the work of the government agencies. But I am worried about the allegation that payments were made to a Summit International, a company in London, $2 million and $1.4 million from the Alpha Beta company in Lagos. And the ultimate beneficiary of this money is an Jose Gonzalez who lives in Colombia. So my first worry is, if this is true, it is important we know whether our presidential candidate is under some form of blackmail. Because why are you remitting almost $4 million to somebody in Colombia? Except if you have a business in Colombia, he needs to explain that, because, I mean, he has 30% chance of being Nigeria's president or 25% chance. And Nigerian government needs to know whether he is under some form of blackmail, whether this was a payoff for somebody who has threatened something when he was governor, or whether this is another transaction that is related to something that Colombia is famous for. So that's my only worry in that. Otherwise, I think, you know,
we need to get back to that permutation. It starts something days before the election. We need to get back to it, and I'll take you to the board here so that we can do all of that. But thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you, Mr. Osita Chidoka, a former Minister of Aviation. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you very much.